all Raging Bolt have.
Right, there's only one in the list, but you've seen how much of a difference it makes in that deck. Let's look at these prize cards for our players. Already on Christian Labella's side, we've seen how important Crispin is, the Ace Spec and the Prime Catcher, that Judge, and 2 Pokemon at the top of the Pheasantipity, as well as a Raging Bolt.
Yeah, the one copy of Judge, one of the 2 Crispin, a Prime Catcher. No, that's going to be a one-of. Pheasantipity, that's a lot of resources I'd like to see in that middle stage of the game that will not be available.
Yeah, a little awkward there. Did you see anything on McConaughey's side, Kyle, that's going to be too difficult for him to work on? Anything
Yeah, we saw the one copy of Badoo. There's 2 of those, so nothing to worry about there. One issue you can run into is that rescue board, but we'll see how that goes, especially with this active Pokemon.
I was about to say, let's see what Pokemon we start. Oh no, here. A little bit awkward there. The Genesect is the starting Pokemon for Makani Tran as we get into this Masters Finals here in Milwaukee. Starting over with Christian Labella here. This might look kind of scary, right?
I mean,
there's no Pokemon out.
This is the best Pokemon.
Yes, it's removed because it transforms here for Christian Labella off of this Ditto. What a cute little card. It turns into any basic that you want here, which is pretty nice. The opposite we're seeing from Makani's side. You know, just in the top 4, Christian had that Raging Bolt stuck in the prize cards, but not this time around. Like we said, just the one copy of. And why has this card made such a difference here in Christian's deck, in this Raging Bolt EX deck?
This is a Pokemon no one wants to knock out. 130 is a really awkward number. Typically takes your main attacker in order to knock this Pokemon out for one single prize. Meanwhile, you are pestering your opponent. They're trying to set up with a Badoo and slow you down 10 damage at a time, locking those items, and instead you just ignore them and use Thunderburst Storm over and over again, removing all of their setup Pokemon.
Thunderburst Storm. Yeah, I mean, we've seen how effective that has been for Christian. It has changed the game for Raging Bolt. There's so many lists I don't play it at all, but here we go. Christian putting it on the map here as we go through the deck. You know, we're still working on this transformative start, but Christian's one of those players that takes note of every single card. I mean, we saw a fully loaded paper sheet in that top 4 game, and now Christian bringing it into the finals here, taking note of the prize cards. He's going to be looking at taking note of what he sees in his opponent's deck as well, because all of those little things matter here when you're at this high stakes in Pokemon TCG.
Yeah, you're given 75 minutes in this situation instead of the typical 50 when you're playing in the Swiss rounds. Take advantage of all those opportunities to get as much information as possible. And the hand, he's got a little bit going on here with the Squawk ability to help out now. He's going to throw away some energies, but we know that those go right back onto the board with Sada later on.
Isn't that so nice when you don't have to worry about your energies being tossed away? You know, you just pull them back out. You're throwing things away here. The Squawk ability out on the field. The Teal Dance happening with this Ogre Pawn EX as well, drawing to even more cards. That's so many cards Christian is seeing on the very first turn of this game. Think about this. Makani hasn't even played a card yet, and Christian's already seen how many in the deck?
He's just waiting over there.
Right.
Man, it looks really fun to play Pokemon. I'd sure love to give that a go.
I just have a Genesect. Well, hopefully Makani has a good enough hand to get out of that. I see a lot of supporters over there as well as a Buddy Coffin, so we're going to have to see what Makani can set up on his first turn going second, but so far so good for Christian over here with that fan Rotom pulling out all of these Hoot Hoots and a Noctowl coming up soon.
Yeah, he's got a Stare Pokemon on the board in that Teal Mask Ogre Pawn. He's prepared to use the Jewel Seeker later on, and he can always expand that bench too, so don't think that he's limited at any point right here. He could add plenty of Raging Bolts into the drawer there.
The drawer, yes, absolutely. We've seen cards flying in over on Christian's side. What a stacked discard pile already here. The energy attached on that Raging Bolt and active, as well as the Teal Mask Ogre Pawn that got the energy for the Teal Dance, and now it's over to Makani, starting with that Buddy Poppin. We're going to see the same pace as far as prize checking as you see all these Pokemon being brought to the front here. We're going to take out some basic Pokemon, 70 HP or less. They're hungry, Kyle. They want some Poffins.
You got to share the love. There's plenty of Pokemon that Makani's going to be eyeing up at this point. Most importantly, the Dreepy. This is a list that's very consistent. Does not feature any of the other ghosts, those Duskulls, Dusclops, Dusknors. We're moving into consistent territory.
Yeah, okay, so let's talk about this. There's been a lot of debate whether you play Pure Pult without the Ghost line, the Dusknors, or like Makani, or not like Makani playing the Dusknors and the Dusclops. Which do you think is a better matchup here for Christian to be going into? Do you think he likes to see this list more?
It depends. We've seen players that really favor having additional ways to amplify damage and move that around in favor instead of the Ghost Pokemon, but typically that was the answer. You'd use your Ghost Pokemon, you'd Curse Blast, you put that damage on the Raging Bolt, then you deal 200, or you'd set up a 4-prize exchange where you deal 200 and a little bit more, and then you separate that out, and you can set up some knockouts on Pokemon like the Teal Mask later on, but I feel like Makani has enough tools to be fairly comfortable in this matchup.
I mean, when you take the Ghost line out, you got to fill that space with something, right, Kyle?
And it's all good stuff, and typically they're answers to playing in mirror match situations where you're going to see Badoo, but he's also got a couple of tricks up his sleeve for playing in these sort of matchups too.
Yes, and I'm excited to see those. We love seeing our pro players on our stream stage with these very cool lines. Of course, right now it's just the first initial turns. We're getting hefty startups here as we see 3 Dreepy and that Badoo coming out for Makani. Also, the Arven being played as a supporter for turn, of course, going second. It's going to be that switch card, so that'll get that Genesect out of the way, and a Bravery Charm as well that we've seen paired. Oh no, it's going to be the Cape King Badoo.
He's got a couple of tools. The preservation of Dreepy seems to be the most important thing for these players. He has prized 2 of his other tools in the experience share and the rescue board, so a bit unfortunate for moving this Genesect at some point, but he does have all of those additional hit points. So Bravery Charm, Luxurious Cape, whatever it may be, he can try to keep Dreepies around so that he doesn't lose all of them to this very angry Raging Bolt.
Yeah, the Raging Bolt, it's got a pretty long neck. He can just reach over and start taking knockouts all over Makani's board. That's exactly what he's trying to avoid here as we go to Christian Labella's side of the field now after that itchy pollen from Makani Tran. So item cards are no more so far here for Christian, but hey, you can still play supporters, and Crispin's got some crispy food cooking up here. We have the energies coming out onto the field on that Raging Bolt. One is attached in that lightning energy, exactly what we need for some attacking action, and it's so nice too because that grass energy goes straight into your hand for some Teal Dance. Of course, getting this energy out as well for your damage modifiers on Raging Bolt EX too. So yeah, that's pretty nice to see, Crispin. That's a strategy we've seen pretty heavily from Christian.
Yeah, it's a free card that you get, and it helps out so well, and Christian does not feel like he needs to press any advantage at this point. He's very comfortable with this Raging Bolt. He has Noctowls, and there's no reason to get aggressive other than just taking these Dreepies and watching your opponent try to set up. Each turn, you're going to remove one of these potential threats.
Yeah, I mean, that's so nice when you can just sit in active position and just make your opponent suffer, essentially. They have to just have answers every single time you're attacking, as you're also furthering your own board state too. And like you said, Kyle, have those Hoot Hoots, the Noctowls, you're just getting everything you need to put even more pressure on. Makani Tran, of course, already done with that Recon Directive here on that Dragapult on the bench. Now going into a Brock's Scouting. This is the card. What'd you say, Kyle? This is like a bad card, but it's good in this current format?
It's a card you never play in solitaire. If you're just making the best deck you can in your room and you just draw hands, you don't want this. But if you're playing against an opponent who has Badoo, you definitely want some opportunities to find some evolution or some more basic Pokemon with your supporter.
Yeah, it's nice, of course. That's going to allow for that Dreepy and the Pheasantipity here for Makani Tran. So that's going to help out getting these Pokemon to stick on the board, as well as this Flip the Script ability.
A free Dreepy, a little bit of thinning, and 3 cards. I mean, Brock's Scouting might actually be all right.
Yeah, that was very, very smooth indeed. We drew into the Fire Energy, the Ultra Ball, and that Blood Moon Ursaluna here from Makani. So you can see this hand is stacking up. The Ultra Ball going to toss away some of these cards here from Makani. Looks like debating what to do. I mean, it's nice when you have a lot of options in your hand. Is going to opt to put this Cape and that Fire Energy onto the Dragapult, though.
You got to protect this Pokemon, especially anywhere that you place energies. That's going to be very pivotal in this matchup. This is not a deck that plays the Sparkling Crystal. Instead, it's going to be the unfair stamp, so anytime you play that energy, you're definitely trying to cash in next turn on a Dragapult.
Yeah, this is gorgeous now. That Dragapult kind of protected here from the cape. Bulky, 190 HP now sitting on the bench, trying to stay on the board and stay in the game.
This is what Noctowl does, though. It's break glass in case of emergency, and there was an emergency, so that's why you bring out the Jamming Tower.
Oh my god.
You see an energy played, you see a very valuable resource in that luxurious cape, and it's nothing. You're just wearing your grandma's quilt.
Yeah, exactly. We had 190 until that Jamming Tower comes out. It turns off our tool cards on the board, and guess what? That means the Dragapult is no longer very fashionable, Kyle Hens. That also means he's very susceptible to nice little knockouts there on the bench, which is pretty brutal. Makani's done everything that he possibly can here to just have Pokemon stick, as we said, but Christian's got the outs here, and you see why that Jewel Seeker there on that Noctowl, as long as that Ogerpon Terra Pokemon is in play, just find whatever you need to have the answers back to your opponent.
Yeah, this Pokemon is just so unfair, especially in a deck that does not have rare candy on the other side. You just see a very slow approach, evolve into the Dracloak, but it has to be multiple Dracloak at a time. And you also can't play your energy for the turn on it, or else he targets that one specifically over and over again. You're just going to run into this issue.
Yeah, it's almost like you're losing your resources slowly as you just have to continue to recycle everything back to the board and just hope that it can stick around. And it's going to be a timer, essentially, for Makani. How long can he outlast these turns before Christian is able to just take all of his prize cards?
Yeah, maybe Christian just gets tired of saying Thunderburst Storm over and over again.
How long it's happening, right?
Yeah.
Thunderburst Storm. That's a lot of syllables there. I'll tell you what, though, for how nice that attack is, whew, I'm going to be saying that a lot here.
Yeah, it might be a $10,000 attack at this point. It's been so great up to this point, and it looks like it's still got a little more potential to take some prize cards. Makani does, however, find that unfair stamp. That is a good way to slow down an opponent who's been holding on to a Noctowl.
Yeah, bumping that Jamming Tower out of the way now. Now we have the Artisan here. It's also going to allow for Makani to search out some non-rule box Pokemon too. So the Luminous Energy going onto this Dracloak here for Makani.
Yeah, and Makani's going to think of all of the considerations as to how to get closer to a card like Counter Catcher in this spot. Says he's going to draw with the unfair stamp to see more resources, but you have to find a turn that's optimal, and that's typically when you also bring up a Pokemon that your opponent has to retreat. Maybe you stick them on a low hand size that isn't able to move this Pokemon, and you skip a turn of attacks.
Yeah, all the outs need to be had here for Makani. That is for sure. Second Recon Directive is available here as we get that Dracloak out.
Ooh, he has the Counter Catcher already, and the unfair stamp gets to hold the Recon Directive too, so even more resources for this in turn. He's going to keep the ball rolling, and there is a chance. Maybe Dracloak holds its energy this turn.
Yes, I mean, Makani has done everything in his power. That unfair stamp, we'll have to see if it's actually unfair. Is Christian going to get the green stamp or the red stamp? We'll have to see.
Could happen.
2 cards here for Christian.
What's been happening on stream? Everybody finds Energy Boss off there too.
It's a green stamp every time. They're approved.
We'll see if Christian's a part of that club.
Yeah, we will see. Only 2 cards here. Of course, Makani also gets 5 cards. What are they going to be here for Christian? Making us wait here, taking some notes. Maybe Makani can show us his cards first.
Ooh, Ultra Ball was one of the cards, it looks like, so that does turn into a Noctowl, but there's Badoo now, so that slows down everything greatly.
Badooby. Yeah, that Badoo has just been sticking that itchy pollen in Christian's way. So far, I mean, the stadium that was played to help out turning off tools is great, but can't play any items. That's a little awkward there.
It sounds like the other card was Sada, so he does have a way to draw here. Maybe just one energy off the top of these 3 could get the job done. Move that Noctowl, bring the Raging Bolt to the active, knock out that Dracloak with the energy. Does he find it?
Oh, it's just the Bravery Charm Ultra Ball in area 0 underdepths there for Christian. Oof. That was pretty cool, though. I mean, we had some draw there from that Asada, but it is kind of crumbling here. Bravery Charm going onto this Hoot now for Christian, and that is it. The Noctowl still in the active position, just passing over to Makani now, who's going to start off with the Recon Directive, Psychic Energy, Bravery Charm.
Yeah, and Makani is not wasting any time here. He sees an energy, throw that into the hand. If you don't already have that Dragapult, you need to find that too. Boss's orders is in the hand as well, so if he wants to remove that Raging Bolt for good, he certainly could do just that.
Now there's the Dragapult EX, Fire Energy now being placed onto this Dracloak that has already done Recon Directive. That means it's fresh. It's ready for this Dragapult EX evolution here. Fully loaded up, already with these energy needed for some Phantom Dive action. We have the boss's orders as well to pair with this.
You start to have some considerations. I mean, Raging Bolt is a single prize Pokemon. You could just go after all the prize cards. However, leaving 4 energy on board doesn't seem great, but he's going to take away the Hoot at this spot. He understands that with the item lock, the only thing that bails Christian out at this point typically is Ultra Ball or finding the Noctowl itself. If you knock out this Hoot, maybe there's a world where Christian just does not find the resources.
Oh, yeah, well, we see here right now choosing where to place those damage counters from that Phantom Dive attack. You get 6 damage counters, but you're also getting 200 in the active, which is swiftly going to deal with that Hoot. That's a prize card in that Ultra Ball here from Makani Tran. 2 prize cards taken already from Christian. Where does he go from here, Kyle? Now that Makani, he's on board. He's got the Dragapult. He's taking prize cards. Have things changed a little bit?
He's staring down some pretty unfortunate math right now. His Raging Bolt could be knocked out, just with the residual effect of the Dragapult EX. 200 damage is a perfect knockout on the Teal Mask Ogerpon, so he has to find Raging Bolt and cash in on these energies right now. The baby Raging Bolt holds 4 energies. If you're not discarding those this turn into the Dragapult EX, you're probably missing out on all that value.
Yeah, there is no value at that point. If they're just going to the discard and not because you're attacking with them, that is tough here. So we need to see what happens here for Christian. Gonna bump that Artisan.
All on the restart.
Area 0 underdepths. Mew for the restart, drawing up to 3 cards in hand.
It's just not a lot.
Oh, Festivities in the prize cards. No, that would be an out for us to draw some additional cards here for Christian, but it is not an option. Even with the giant board here, thanks to that Area 0 underdepths, extending it to 8. But without that Festivity, there are no scripts that are being flipped here, Kyle.
Is there a grass energy? Maybe you can use that to try to draw a supporter for the turn.
1. What was it?
Pound the Sada off there.
That's a plus
still more chances. He's got to count which energy is more likely to be found. He's got the Lightning. Can he find the Fighting? He's got, what, 1 left here? Are you kidding me? It's the top card.
Wow. Christian has done it there. Professor Sada's Vitality, an additional 3 draws here after that Teal Dance on the Ogerpon. That is beautiful. We have the retreat here now on the Ogerpon, promoting this Raging Bolt EX, already charged up, ready for some Bellowing Thunder.
That's unreal. What a chain of events. The 1 card into the 3, into the last Fighting, waiting on the top for him.
Beautiful.
Bellowing Thunder can take the knockout on the only threat on Makani's board right now. You still have to be thinking about if there's Blood Moon or Luna to follow up later on, but right now, feeling fairly comfortable if you're Christian.
Yeah, right now we're about to have 1,058 pounds of Raging Bolt EX swinging over to Makani's board here, Kyle. That's a big boy. boy.
This neck doesn't have to stretch very far.
Nope.
You just knock out the active.
Yeah, look at that. A huge Pokemon in himself with that Dragapult. But he's lightweight. He's like 100 pounds. And now he's in the discard pile here, Kyle. That's 2 prize cards for Christian Lobella. Only 2 left to take now in this matchup here. Makani is sitting at 5 still. What is his way out of this, Kyle?
I like Iono and Energy and Blood Moon or Saluna. Yeah. Are they in the cards, though? That's the question. We see
Got a lot
all,
of cards.
we see Energy, we see Iono. I think that's a yes.
I think that's also a yes. Yeah, we're going to start with the Ultra Ball here as Makani lays all of this out in front of us.
Oh, is
Ooh.
it there, though?
Oh, yeah, is it?
It might have already
the
been
deck?
discarded.
We got Night Stretchers.
Okay. There's a chance.
We got things, right?
There's
I don't know.
some prize
Makani's locked in, yo. He is focused up here, as you should be in the Masters Finals. You have so much on the line here between these players, as you said, Kyle. Difference between $7,000 and $10,000, and of course the Street Cred, the Pikachu. There's so much here for these
An
players.
auto invite to the world.
The auto invite. I mean, probably the most important part. No, the Pikachu's better than that, right? No,
Hang on. Oh, no, 108 boosters.
Oh, yeah, for real, right? Watch us giving them away back there, yo. Yes, so much for these players on the line. You got to take care of it and just make sure you're doing everything right. You don't want to make any slight mistakes.
Right.
These stakes are high.
Oh, I'll peek. There is Night Stretcher in the hand, so if Blood Moon or Saluna is there, you can find it. If it was in the deck, you would have found it already, so it's somewhere.
Yeah, it's somewhere. I'm telling you, Makani's just taking his time here. Seeing a debate on energy attachment here, though, on the Dracloak, and that's psychic energy.
Yeah, a bit curious, but you can try to slow down the spot and Badoo, if your opponent does not have the boss's orders, they're just taking an irrelevant prize card.
Bezendipity going to draw 3 additional cards as well. First recon directive here between a boss's orders and an Iono. It's going to be the Iono going to hand. All right, Dragapult EX, Buddy Poffin, Dragapult EX, nice and easy choice there for Makani Tran. I mean, this hand is pretty stacked up already. It's going to be that Dragapult EX evolving out onto the field here for Makani. Only has that psychic energy.
Well, you know, I mean, I suppose there's the world where you just counter catch with a Hoot and you can take that knockout, and you could also go after the Raging Ball with the energy and have 1 less energy on board. This is the very slow approach, though. This is to take as little risk as possible. This feels like the play you do when Pheasantipity's on board, and instead he's just going to take the approach now. But if he's got the resources to back this up later with the counter catcher and the Iono, maybe he feels more comfortable with all of those hit points rather than the minimal 260 of the Blood Moon or Saluna.
Yeah, I mean, it looks like a lot of thought was put into that move here from Makani, but on Christian's side, Noctowl's going to jump out here. Raging Bolt EX back into the active position, discarding that single energy off the board to knock out this Badoo. Christian Lobella has put himself into a slot to take 1 more prize card here. Makani going to start out with this Halucha, putting these 2 damage counters onto the field on the fan Rotom and at Hoot Hoot after that flying entry ability.
Oh my goodness, you know what? This sets up so beautifully. He saw an opportunity where if his opponent doesn't have a boss's orders, he can take this 1 turn. Now it's 1 less card for his opponent. He sets up the 10 damage on the Hoot Hoot. He can knock out the Mew that would restart. There's no way to draw an additional card if he does not find a grass energy here or the supporter. Christian has 2 cards to work with.
Oh, that is scary, Kyle. It's all coming down to this here in our game 1 between these players.
An unreal risk to take, but you know what? It worked out so well. 3 prizes remaining, or 3 prizes taken, 2 remaining. And he's got basically a boss's orders away from closing this thing out. Christian desperately now has to grab the discard pile, see what he's up against.
Yeah.
Boss's orders are there.
You're right. Yeah, counting it out here, all these resources. My heart is pumping here, Kyle. As we walk through this. How is the situation happening right now? But yeah, Makani really mapped it out there. I mean, we saw a lot of focus go in there. What are you seeing in the discard pile, Kyle?
I wish my eyes were, well, they're a little better than yours, but not that great. But there is a prime catcher. And to the
That's it. That's what it is.
You're taking information for game 2. That's a
Oh
little
my
anticlimactic
God.
there, pal.
Christian
Thanks a lot.
Lobella, he was just making us wait to see his win here in this game 1 between our players. Christian Lobella easily prime catching out that single prize card, taking it out with enough energy on the board to discard from that Raging Bolt EX. And that's it. Game 1 going to Raging Bolt, Kyle.
You know, you should do
I
it,
respect
but
it.
it's not very cool.
I respect it, though. I respect it.
We'll take a look
A lot on the line,
how we got
Tyler.
here. Game number 1, though. It was a really great game, and Christian played it so strong. He understood exactly what he needed to do in this matchup. If you set up Baby Raging Bolt and just start removing 3Ps from play, this play was absolutely backbreaking. The Jamming Tower, removing the energy Dracloak with the cape. Yeah, how do you come back from that? This is one way. Makani was fighting.
Yeah, Makani was fighting hard here. We saw everything being pulled out, all the stops here, but Christian Lobella has so much energy, was able to use all that energy to take a single knockout on a fully healthy Dragapult EX, and then continue the pace here. We saw the Badoo go down. We saw several other knockouts there for Christian Lobella, and this was the end game here. Makani trying everything here to set up the checkmate, but Christian easily had it with that prime catcher. Item cards were online that time around, and it mattered quite a bit there. 2 energy discarded. The win going to Christian Lobella in this first game. I gotta say, Kyle, Raging Bolt here absolutely dismantled that Dragapult deck.
Christian has a comment on his deck list. It says Bolt, a new hope. You know what?
This is why he's my favorite
I'm starting to
player.
believe.
This is why he's my favorite player. Bolt, a new hope. And honestly, that is so great as far as a slogan here, because how many people have been doubting Raging Bolt's EX as a deck for so long, Kyle?
Yep, and Iono is a lie. We were finding out that everything that we believe to be true is true. This is just something that continues to happen. With that low shuffle up and deal, you only get 1 card, 2 cards. Of course, he's going to find the prime catcher to get the job done.
Right.
Puts him up 1-0 in this series. We're down exactly a third of the time here. It's a great opportunity for Makani now to show off what he's made of.
Hey.
Maybe he can evolve some Pokemon and stick some energies early on.
I know, yes, I would love to see that. If Makani's plan could just go slightly better there, we will be looking at a very different
Yeah,
game here.
prize the Jamming Tower.
Yeah,
Prize the
no.
Baby Raging Bolt. Give us something to work with.
Think about
Here.
that. Christian was working with, a little bit of a debuff there with the Pheasantippity being prized as well. So
Yeah, there were a lot of opportunities where it's not when a knockout occurred, he just did not draw very much.
Right.
When energy go.
energy go. I like that. Hey, that's how it's played, man.
That's how you like to play?
Energy
Energy go.
go.
The Team Deck Gamer.
Yeah. Team Deck Gamer. Hey, if anybody can make this happen, it's Makani Tran. I mean, think about it. In his last match, he 2-0'd against the Joltik Toolbox deck. I mean, that was pretty wild. I didn't get to see it happen, but it sounded epic. So let's see what happens between these players as we kick off this game 2 in our Masters Finals here in Milwaukee. Fan Rotom, that's a nice start that we want to see here for Christian. He's on first once again here.
Always nice to see the fan call to start things off and start to build up on your board. He did top deck his best friend in Baby Raging Bolt. Maybe that would have been his ideal starter, but he's not going to complain that he sees that way. He also has Latias in hand.
Oh, wow. That's amazing. Are we sure that's not like a 4-0 copy in this deck? I feel like I've seen a lot more of it.
He's got 4 Raging Bolt, but a couple of them
They're
are EX.
different. One's a big boy. I guess they're all big boys, really. One's just slightly smaller on the arts. But we see Christian taking a look at all of the energy counts. This is so important for this deck. There are some energy. We have seen Raging Ball in the stream before where different energies were attached than what needed to be. There was grass placed on it. It was messy. So there are, of course, the lightning and the fighting that need to be your attacker energy, and then the grass to go onto your ogre pawn. So keep track of how many of those we have in the deck.
Yeah, these little things just bump your percentages up ever so slightly, and you do enough of them correctly, and you're going to be looking at 100% and a big old trophy to go with it.
100%'s a W in my eyes here. All these colorless Pokemon, 100 HP or less joining the field here. Double Hoot Hoot and that Ditto.
really just making sure to know all of the options that he has here. I don't know if we saw the Terra Pokemon to go with this, but Ditto thankfully will turn into that Pokemon, and that opens up a world of options where he can find that knocked out Jewel Seeker and get the ball rolling. The rest of the hand wasn't tremendous from any other standpoint. No supporter for the second turn that I saw, so thankfully that Ditto is always going to be something you can target.
Yeah, that's pretty nice here. Some options for Christian. As you said, that Latias EX already in the hand out on the field now, allowing for some free retreat of those basic Pokemon. Ditto transforming. That wasn't a Ditto. That was a Geomask Ogerpon, Kyle. Who knew?
Pulls on the mask with a popsicle stick. Yeah,
yeah, that is quite the sight. Surprise, baby. We're dancing now. Teal dance here to draw into an additional card. Hey, we were talking about no supporters. Not anymore, Kyle. Not anymore. Professor Sada.
You have the Earthen Vessel to discard an energy. So,
Love it.
I mean, that was a worry, too. You've got the Latias for free retreat, so there was a difficulty finding a way to get an energy into the discard pile. You might not have been able to draw with this card and been forced to use, well, and without Earthen Vessel, you wouldn't have found the energies either, but that's another way to draw an additional resource.
Wow, there's a lot of options in this deck, huh?
I feel like it's like synergistic, yeah.
I like playing items. Yeah, that's so fantastic. The fighting energy in the discard pile. We already have the energy attachment onto that small Raging Bolt on the bench there in that lightning energy. Makani starting off with just that psychic energy onto the active Dreepy. Hopefully we can see some more here. It's just going to be an Iono to start the turn off here. So I guess he didn't like that hand. He wants fresh
I don't know if he likes this hand either.
There's Nest Ball.
That's the only thing I liked so far. It was looking pretty rough.
I wish it was, maybe a Poffin. That'd be cool.
Yeah.
I'm hungry.
2 Pokemon.
I didn't get any snacks back there, Kyle.
That's tough.
Oh.
That's the sacrifices we make for y'all.
Well, let's take a look at the prize cards for Makani here. Boss's Order sitting at the top there. It's a little awkward. Buddy Buddy Poffin, one of those Buddy Buddy Poffin. Ultra Ball, Night Stretcher. These are all multiple copies in the deck for Makani, but that Boss's Orders could be nice in the later turns depending on what happens, but it's going to be at the top prize cards there.
And it feels almost guaranteed at this point that you will lose this repeat with the Psychic Energy, regardless of its location. If it goes to the bench, it can be sniped away by the Baby Raging Bolt. There's plenty of ways to deal a simple 70 damage on the following turn. Badoo could try to slow things down, but if Christian already has those resources, a Crispin would be devastating in this spot.
Right, you're looking at two different play styles here between these players. Just look at the board states. You can tell which one's very offensive, which one's very defensive as far as these plays go. The fact that Christian Lobelli can put on that much pressure with just a single turn, both of these games, it's just brutal to see. As we see that Professor Shada's Vitality from the last turn, flying those energy on the board.
Where you want your Bravery Charm right now?
Yeah, for real, right? Hey, guess what? Bravery Charm on the Badoo. It's keeping it alive, but that Dreepy is gone into the discard pile here after that Raging Bolt.
Well, one good Badoo needs another, and it's found its friends. The problem is you have no one attacking for more than 10 damage for quite some time, so Unfair Stamp has to get the job done here.
I mean, what a board.
If you can find, even Boss's Orders, the counter catcher, something to promote another Pokemon, put your opponent on that weak hand and just bide time while they just draw item after item, you can set up a board. But
we need to
is
set up a board.
capable of that? Can Christian not draw the good stuff?
You know what?
His whole deck is good stuff.
Right. His entire deck, because that's how it's built here, Kyle. We've been talking about Pokemon stats all weekend, Kyle. Badoo, 8 inches, 2.6 pounds.
Yeah, you can put 2 P's in those pods. You'd be ready. He's got 2 of them out there.
2 P's in the pod here, living on an Unfair Stamp. Oh my goodness. Wow. Well, we have the Buddy Buddy Poffin here now from that Arven. Thank goodness. Luxurious Cape as well for the tool card off the Arven. That means we're going to see some Dreepy, but how long will they stick around, Kyle?
That is completely up to Christian at this point.
He's leading this game here.
Yep, you got 12 more Itchy Pollen to go before we're at any danger at this point. So I think Christian's going to be feeling fairly comfortable. Even with the low hand, he does find a Grass Energy to draw a little more, and it's as simple as announce your attack, take a knockout for at least the next couple turns.
Yeah, I mean, this is how you want to be performing in the Masters Finals here. It's so smooth. Prize card. Prize card, yeah, that would be nice. There we go. It is drawn here now as Makani Tran takes out this Dracloak Recon Directive immediately here. We're going to see the Brock Scouting come into play for some basic Pokemon. We got 2 of them. We saw this in the last game as well. Dreepy and Pheasantipity. That's exactly what Makani needed to kind of try to get some extra draw in there and just set up for the later game as his board is just being picked off slowly from Christian.
We're in the same spot as we were in game number 1, where you need to have the Luxurious Cape here and an energy to go along with it. Pheasantipity drawing. I don't see the energy just yet, though. That's not great. You can preserve this Pokemon, hang around for a little bit, but you're missing a huge opportunity to establish this energy on board. Yeah, so unfortunate.
Yeah, I mean, any energy missed is huge.
Oh my gosh, he found the Jamming Tower.
Top deck.
What is happening?
He didn't even need the knockdown. The Jamming Tower coming down immediately. We saw this in the game 1 as well. The Luxurious Cape protecting that poor Dracloak, but it's back down to just 90.
His hand is just energies and Ultra Ball. How's he doing this?
That's a game of Pokemon here, Kyle. Energies and Ultra Ball. That's wild. Fan Rotom even taking an energy here on the bench. That's it. That Dracloak that was just set up from Makani with that Luxurious Cape taken out. Think of how many resources were used to even get into that point. Now Makani just has to save it.
The next card for him is the Energy Surge. It's just insult over and over. He just can't get it done. I mean, I guess this is good. This time around, you found your energy on a Pokemon that would have been knocked out, but how do you set up a reasonable attacker in this spot? Your opponent has already taken 3 prize cards. You can't really set up Blood Moon Ursaluna in this spot. You're just wasting time showing exactly where you're going to go with your plays. But energy on Dracloak feels like a complete waste.
I know, that's so sad. That is so sad here. Unfortunate for Makani, but I mean, what else do you do, Kyle? What else do you do?
Every time you play an energy down, it also has to go with a boss, a counter catcher, something to slow down your opponent and hope that they just don't have an answer. But I mean, there's Latias. He's going to keep moving his Pokemon around. He's going to bring up the Raging Bolt and take knockouts, and you just can't answer this.
There's too many things, unfortunately, that are kind of mounting against Makani. I feel like we've been saying that this whole time, and it just keeps increasing. Kyle, as the turns go by, Christian has just been effortlessly leading this battle here with his army of the single Raging Bolt. It's just Raging Bolt and support, like literally. Yeah, well, I suppose one thing you can do is let your Genesect skateboard around for a minute, and you don't have to worry about Prime Catcher once you're done with this Badoo, but that's probably our attacker for the next turn or so. Well, that's what we got here. Counter Catcher, Risky Board, Arven bringing us, he's opened up his backpack, he's bringing us something out of there, but as the turns go by, Christian just takes more and more prize cards. Makani hanging on here. Maybe we can get some good juju sent his way from all the people cheering him on.
Beware the bear, it's time, but it's not ready yet. It takes a minute to charge up.
Yeah, we're not that late in the game here. He's going to take an energy on that Blood Moon Ursaluna on the bench here now. Each prize card that Christian takes, it's 1 less energy needed on that Blood Moon Ursaluna. So it's going to have 1 here, getting ready, but Christian is kicking off his next turn.
Okay, and of all cards defined, Christian does have the Area 0 under depths, which means he can establish some of his support to avoid Iono shenanigans. This was the one thing missing. He didn't really want to play the Ultra Ball. Well, he can't play the Ultra Ball, but if he had access to Noctowl, he doesn't want to use that card yet. He wants to find the basics so that he can start to draw a lot of this. The Mew, the Pheasantipity.
Wow. Yeah, I mean, how beautiful is that? I mean, Area 0 under depths, He's got bench, he's got extra bench. He takes the knockout there on that Drag Cloak in the discard pile here now for Makani as Christian's down to just 2 prize cards. I mean, this has been flying here in our Masters Finals. Christian's 1 win away now. Kyle from becoming the champion here in Milwaukee. Makani Tran playing out these cards. Ultra Ball starting us off, discarding that Monkey Dory as well as...
The very valuable Dragapult here. That's
yes.
all Dreepies and Cloak removed from play.
So valuable. That Genesect, he's dragging right now, unfortunate.
It's a journey of a bear and his allergies for the next few turns. If you can figure it out, then maybe he's got a chance. And it certainly involves that counter catcher and maybe drawing into an Iono here. You could go for that similar strategy of removing the Mew from play, hoping to stick your opponent on a terrible hand. Can't even find the Iono, though. It is Arvin this time around.
Yeah, that is a bummer here. Arvin gonna get us some supplies, but we wanted that disruption as well as the EXP share, as well as that Night Stretcher coming out of the deck for Makani.
You have to keep on playing at this point. You want to preserve those energies if you can. You can find a Dreepy, play the Spirit Share on it, but if you lose your Blood Moon Ursa Luna, you've already lost the game.
All right, it's done, yeah.
We're at a tough spot here.
Right, that's what you play when you're behind, but also when you're slightly more ahead here. But Blood Moon Ursa Luna EX coming into the active position here, taking a knockout. Right. 2 prize cards down. It's up to Christian Labella now to take things home.
You have to think that there's a world where this could happen. There's an Ultra Ball, there's a Noctowl as well. There's access to items this turn. All you need to find is that Raging Bolt and have an energy attached to it. You play your energy for the turn, you'll be set.
Well, let's see if we can draw into that, Kyle. First off.
Oh, he doesn't have a Terra right now. That was a great play there.
Yeah, I was going to say that extra bench doesn't stick around if you don't have a Terra Pokemon, which, of course, Makani just got rid of off the board in that Ogre Pond. That means we got to go back to just 5 Pokemon max out on the field.
Yes, Terra in hand.
Oh, there we go. Never mind. And we're back. We are back now. Teal Mask Ogre Pond EX. What can I go with to just get us maximum draw here? Noctowl starting things off. Now that we have that Terra Pokemon, Jewel Seeker is out seeking those jewels. 2 trainer cards here for Christian.
Just making sure that the resources are all there. He should be able to get there. He's got the Raging Bolts, the Sada. He's got the bench space with Area 0. He's got Night Stretcher in hand to find an energy. I think there's a fighting energy in there. I suppose you're just trying to get to the lightning at that point to have all your energies to attack.
I like energy. I know, it's beautiful. You don't have to discard off that baby Raging Bolt. Those energies stick around so you can pull off moves in the later game here. Raging Bolt EX coming down onto the field.
Oh, yeah.
Earthen Vessel here.
Oh, yeah.
We got it.
He's found it. Lightning Energy, Professor Sada's Vitality. And that is the game. Christian Labella with his first regionals win here in Milwaukee.
He's our champion. Raging Bolt taking down all of the competition. No more Dragapult, no more Gardevoir here. Christian Labella leading the way with Raging Bolt as your champion here in Milwaukee. He's taken it. This is his very first champion title in the Masters division.